Good morning, Rabbi Isai. I've never done this before. I'm in transit right now. I'm with my family. We're going on the way to Chicago with a stopover in Zurich. So I prepared cheer on the plane. You know what that means? It's like Billyack. But I'm looking for a place to give a cheer. And the lounge doesn't have a place. There's no quiet place without me disturbing other people, without other people disturbing me. They had this, it's called a transit hotel. It's a tiny little room with a bed, no bathroom. And I figured that this will be a great place to give a shiur. Otherwise, I'd have to wait probably approximately 12 to 13 hours until I get to Chicago and I'm able to record then. I might record another shiur then just to catch up, be ahead. But meanwhile, let's see how this goes. Excuse the background, I could have closed the shades, but I figured, maybe a little plane here and there is not going to hurt. Might make it the shiur more interesting if the actual shiur is a shtickle boring. Let me just say a couple of Tehillim like we always do. Shir l'malois mimama kim prosicho Adonai Adonai shemo v'koili tieno zdech kashuvois v'kol tachanunoi im Adonai tishmor Adonai miyamoid ki im chaslicho leman tivorei Kirisi Adonai kivso nafshi v'ledoroi cholti nafshi l'Adonai mishemir l'boiker shemir l'boiker Yachel Yisrael el Adonai Kim Adonai achesed v'arbei moifedus v'hu yivdes Yisrael mikol avinu Yisrael Acheinu kol beis Yisrael Hanasunim batzoro v'ashivyo Ha'imdim bein bayom u'bein bayabosho Hamochim mirachim aleim v'yitzim mitzor l'levacha me'afei l'lo'ira u'mishivu l'geula hashto baglo zman korib v'nimar omein. Just one email. I am on the way, and also I don't have access to my PowerPoint slides. 0 slides today. Maybe Yosef and Yoshi can work together to put some slides in. I try to do it, but I cannot download my PowerPoint. There's one nice picture here. Obviously, they're not allowed to show their faces because they're in the army, but you see, it's an army vehicle. You could even see there's like some sort of protection for the windshield from rocks. And they're watching the shiur, and it says, Hamas hurts us, but they can't stop us from dafing. We will always be dafing in all of Eretz Yisrael. Tuvia, Eisman, Baruch Hu should give you the strength and the courage to make it through this very difficult time and come home safe and sound, you and all your brothers and sisters and everybody that's out there that's captured, and all the chaylim should have a refuah shleima. Today's shiur is dedicated to all those who are captured, all those who are wounded, all the neshamas that we lost. And a schus for the parents who sleepless nights, worried, concerned, don't know the whereabouts of their children, their loved ones. Baruch Hu should give them the strength to make it through this very, very difficult tekufa. I'm going to have to rush through because the family is waiting. I have to catch a flight. I've never done this. Never given a shiur this early. It's right after Vasikin. So, yesterday we had Abaya said 2 halachas. Today we're going to learn the third. And that is that Eid Echad is believed. If a guy comes and says, hey, you ate chelev, you ate treif, and the other one doesn't oppose him, we believe the Eid. If a person comes and says, your fruit is tamei, and the other person doesn't oppose him, we believe the Eid Echad. The Gemara is going to say, why do we need all these cases? And finally, the last words in Daf Yomi Amud Beis. I wish I could just take the camera, spin it around a little bit, to show you that the Gemara is on top of suitcases. It's a beautiful matzav. But Torah has to go on. We learn Torah in all situations. You know what? Let me show you just real quickly. This is the little bed, a little room without a bathroom. I improvised. I didn't have where to put my camera, so I took, this is a light, so instead of using the light, I'm placing the camera on here, and hopefully it goes well. Okay. I just hope that the lighting, because it is going to get brighter, it doesn't change the aperture, the settings on the camera. Okay. Omar Abaya, third Allah. Omar loy eid echad, sharcha nirva. If two yidden come along and say that a shar was involved in a relation with a human being, you kill the shar. But now we have one aid that says that's what happened, and the owner is quiet, doesn't oppose. Ne'eman, he's believed, and therefore we cannot use this animal for a carbon. The Tana Tuna, and I can prove it to you. If it says that if there was an aver done with the animal, meaning he had relations, or he killed a human being based on one witness, or the owner said that's what happened. Neman the eidechad is neman. Let's see. What's the case? If the owner agrees, you don't need then you don't need a witness. We just said that the owner himself has the power to say that his animal is not roy for a carbon. Elalav the shasik. The eidechad comes across and he says what he has to say, and the owner is quiet, and that's our case. Says the Gemara, we need three cases. We say the first one about chaylev, that he testified that a person ate chaylev and he has to bring a carbon. The kimle b'nafshei, the avad chum ba'azor le'av ma'aseh. Person knows that he ate chaylev. He most likely ate it, because why would he want to bring a carbon for no reason? He's not going to trust the eidechad, because the carbon that he's bringing is chulin ba'azara, which is the raisa, unless it's a carbon for the right thing. But if it's for the wrong thing, it's not for the chaylev that he ate, he'll be over naver. Avol nitmutar secha. He says the second case, where I know that your fruit became tamei meimar amrin and hide the shasik. The reason why he was quiet, the sovach chazili b'mitu masi to masai. These fruit. What do I care if the Eid Echad testifies? I don't know, one way or another. Maybe it's Tamei, maybe it's Tar. So I'll eat it when I'm Tamei. It doesn't go to waste. And if we say these cases, I just say the case of the fruit, then there's actually a loss when he's Tar. I have many other bulls. Why do I have to bring this bull as a carbon? What do I care? Let the Eid testify that he was over in Avera and I can't bring him to the Mizbeach. I have other bulls. If I want to bring a carbon, I'll bring another bull. Tzricha. That's why I need all three cases. Now we have a beautiful sugi. A person comes along and says, hey, I witnessed your wife was mizana. And the husband is quiet. What's the halacha? And we know that if there's two witnesses that witness it, then the husband is usher to be with his wife. Happens to be, just as a halach of the Peretz Chaim, mentioned it earlier, Peretz Chaim says that if a person knows such testimonies, even though in Daf Yomi, he's allowed to tell the husband on condition that he knows that the husband is going to listen to him. If he knows the husband is just going to brush him off, he's not allowed to tell the husband. And the Peretz Chaim says something very interesting. I wouldn't have thought this. He says, do not tell the husband who the person is, unless that's the only way he'll believe you. Interesting. Omar Abaya, so if there's one aid that testifies that his wife was Mizana, Neman. Rava Omar, Enu Neman. So we have Machlekes Abaya and Rava. Another Machlekes between Abaya and Rava, one of the many hundreds in Shas. Rava says, Eidecha is not believed. And that's the sugya today. Or some of it, most of it. Rava says, anytime that we have to testify in Erva, in Arayas, you need to aid him. How do I know this? And by the way, it's very easy, simple. Gemara, we have some stories today. And here's one story that was Samya Dahavim Sader Masniyosek Hamidam Ashmo. There was a blind man who was a big Talmud Chacham, he knew everything by heart, and he was organizing the different prices in front of Shmuel. Now, it happens to be that this Samya is brought down a few times in Shas. One time we had him was in Masechet Beitza, also with Shmuel, something to do with the Erev Tavshilin over there. So he forgot to make the Erev Tavshilin, whatever. So it's not the first time he appears in Shas. So you have this blind person. One day he was late and he didn't show up. So Shmuel sent somebody to see, where is he? I need him. The shliach went in one way. Listen, he's blind, maybe, the shortcuts. He came in a different direction. So the shliach went to the blind man's house, knocks on the door, and he finds another man in the house. So he comes running back, and he sees the blind man, and he says, Omar, ishli zinsa. I want you to know that unfortunately, when I missed you, when I came to your house, I saw that your wife was mizana. Also, the Kamid Shmuel, so the blind man went to Shmuel and said, what should I do, Rebbe? Omar lei, so he says, if you trust the shliach, then you have to divorce her. Says Abaya, you see here, the one aid is enough to divorce a wife. My love, the L'chari means, if you trust the fact that he's not a bad person, he's not a robber, he's not a ganav, then you could trust him for the seidos. Virava. What does Rava say? How is he going to explain the story? If you trust him like two eidim, zil apka, v'loi loi tapka. If he's so trustworthy to you, like two people, like two eidim, that's a different halacha. Then Rashi said a lashon here, no. Okay, so it's a certain emunah that you have. You trust like two people. So if you trust like two people, then you have to divorce her. It's not pshat that a single aid is believed every time. If you know the shliach personally, and to you he's like two people, okay, then go ahead and divorce her. Oh, so now we have a very long story. And based on the story, he says, Abaya, I'll prove to you that one aid is believed in our eyes. Not like your Rava that says you need two aid. This is a story with Yana HaMelech. Says Rashi, Yana HaMelech was a kohen, and he came from Beis Chashmonai. Shahala l'choichalis shebamidbar. He went to a place in the desert, v'kibesham shishim krochim, and he captured 60 cities. Now, there was once a time that we had a similar Gemara, not the story. And if I recall correctly, the Zohar says that Shishim Krochim is referring to Shas. He conquered Shas. The Shishim says the Mishnah. I think there's a Achronim over here that say the same thing. After finishing off these 60 cities, came back and he was extremely excited and happy. So as a derech litzon, you could say shalach l'choichalis. L'choichalis could be referring to, forget it, won't even say it. There's the blue art scroll. Fine. I'm saying it's not a b'zoyin because even Rabbi Yashiv used to learn from the blue art scroll. There's pictures of him, etc. So he calls all the chachamim and he says, listen, we have to make a big party. The Simcha G'dayla, what I achieved, 60 krochim. Now, our forefathers used to eat these vegetables, these salty vegetables. Says Rashi, unbelievable. Our forefathers, they were very poor. So all the money that they had, they gave to the building of the Beis HaMikdash. They wanted to build the Beis HaMikdash. But we have a lot of money, so we're going to l'zeicher that, we're going to eat maluchim. It's possible that today, people would also eat maluchim just to show kilo they don't have money. In those days, they really didn't have money, and they gave every dime they had to the bin Beis HaMikdash. Now, I'm sure, you know what, instead of saying that, I'm sure if we were building the Beis HaMikdash, people would go crazy to build the Beis HaMikdash. Everybody would want to be involved. So, b'zman she'yoy asukim b'nei Beis HaMikdash, they would eat maluchim. Afonu noicha maluchim zeichel aviseinu, we should also eat. Vehelu maluchim and they brought these cheap vegetables. Al shulchan shel zav v'achlu. So they wanted to show, look, we have a lot of money. We have golden tables, but we're going to eat the poor food. Zeichet aviseinu. V'haya sham ish leitz. There's a person who's a letz. Letz is a person, what's the right word? Escaped my mind. A person that not makes fun, maybe, makes light of a situation. Let's say we're all in a very schwer situation. So comes a person and says, maybe we're doing too much damage to the enemy. That's a let's. He says some words, he makes light of a situation, and it takes away from the seriousness of the whole thing. It doesn't necessarily mean a clown, somebody that makes jokes. But he makes light of a situation. Maybe that's how we're going to describe it. So you have a guy, a terrible guy. He's a leitz, leiv ra, terrible heart, ublial, bad guy. Ve'elazar ben Poyero shmoy. Vayomer Elazar ben Poyero liyanei hamelech. So he tells the king, Yanei hamelech, libam shel prush molecha. You should know that the Tehillim, the Talmid Chacham, are not happy with your success. You should know deep inside they're here for the party, but not because they really like you. Umoya said, how will I know that you are right? Says Yanei, Hokem lem betzitz shebenenecha. Maybe Yosef could put in the picture of the tzitz. That's what the Kohen Gadol wears on his head, a golden thing. It says Kodesh Hashem. And because it says Hashem's name, they're going to stand up for you. But I know that there's going to be one Talmid Chacham that's going to say something about it. Hekim lem betzitz shebenenecha, so he put the tzitz on. He's a Kohen. He acted as the Kohen Gadol. He said, Yana Hamelech, why are you wearing this tzitz? It's enough that you're a king. Leave the kuna. Why? Leave it to someone else. Because people say about you, your mother, there's a rumor that your mother was captured, and a woman who was captured, we could assume that the goy violated her, and Memela, her kid, becomes a chalal. You are a chalal, and you're a chalal. You shouldn't be doing avodah in the Beis Hamikdash. You shouldn't be wearing a tzitz. Now, happens to be, the Mesilas Yesharim says that, of course, if you're sticking up for a mitzvah, somebody's doing a mitzvah, somebody's doing an avera, okay. But if you're talking about midas chasidus, and you're talking about something that's not 100% certain, like over here we'll see that's not sure, that Chacham didn't agree with this. So why do you have to say something? You say something if you know you're going to get the right result. And if you're not going to get the result, then there's no reason for you to talk. And by you talking, it causes a lot of damage. Says the Gemara. So he called him basically a chalal. Now, we're talking about imoy nishbis. We're talking about, we have captured women today, mamish now as we're speaking. And they took videos of Baruch Hashem. We didn't see them, but that's what they're saying. That they let the world know what Rochel they are. We should say a couple of them here. I don't know if that's the right thing. In the middle of learning. Maskila David. This is for the captured women, for the captured kids, captured men as well. הבית יומין וראה ואיני מכיר, ועבד מנויס ממני אין דרעש לנפשי. זועקתי לך אדינוי, אמרתי אותו מחזיק חלקי בארץ החיים. הקשיבה לי נוסיק ידע לא יסימיוי, להצילני מרוי תפאי, Kiyom to many Yitziam as again Ashilo Dosis Shemlecho, Yachtir Sadikim, Sigma, who should save them immediately and they shouldn't be harmed. One said a Gemara that the Goyim didn't harm them in that way. I wish it was true. His mother was captured. And you have to assume that the guy violated her and her kid is a chalal. But they looked into it and they couldn't bring anybody to corroborate that. Says the Gemara, Yanai HaMelech was so upset at them, he took the Chacham out of there. Get out. All of you. Again comes the lates, the Rochel. Yanai HaMelech Chedich of Yisrael, Kachu Dinoi. You're a king and you're a kohen gadol. Kachu dimcha. You're going to take this from them. You're going to be embarrassed by them. What should I do? If you listen to me, Ram saying kill them. The Torah Matiyaleh says Yanai. What's going to be with the Torah achdus? Look, this is a Torah. It's rolled up. Anybody can take it out and read the psukim. Anybody that wants to learn will come. That was Abikarsus. To Yanai. Great. You could open up a Torah, who's going to teach you all the halachas, the Gemara, the whole Shas. It went into motion. They killed every single gadol, every single chacham. And there's no Torah in the world at Shubah. Shimon ben Shetach. The famous story in Bracha is that Shimon ben Shetach was Yanai's brother-in-law. His sister, Shimon ben Shetach's sister, was married to Yanai, and she saved him. What was the story over there? Something with the bracha. Who's going to make the bracha? Oh, I have something. You promise you're not going to kill him. And comes Shimon ben Shetach. He, one time on Chacham, was able to bring back Torah to Klal Yisrael. So that is the story. Now says the Gemara, what is the story? If you have 2 against 2, 2 yidden say that Yanai's mother was captured, and 2 said not, so it's 2 against 2. So Rashi says you have 2 against 2, so why should you listen to these? Listen to these. In other words, let's be machmer. Let's say that she was in fact captured. Because Rashi explains it just in simple terms, that the question is not on the mother, the question is on the son. Because the son Yanai was never born into a kashrus. He never had a chazaka. The mother, when she was born, she was kshera. So now you have a question, what happened to her? Was she violated, not violated? So you could go on the cheskas kamaisa. But the son was born into a suffix. The son Yanai always had a suffix. Says Rashi, we were talking about the son, not the mother. And therefore, there's a suffix. What his halacha should be for kuhuna. So it can't be 2 against 2. It must be 1-8. And it's because it's 2 against 1. So you see that 1-8 is believed when it comes to Arab. The only reason why we don't trust the 1-8 is because there's 2 against him. But 1 on his own, if nobody opposes him, he'll be believed. Two pshatim says Rav. No, it's talking about 2 against 2. And you ask me a question, it's 2 against 2, we should be machar. 2 against 2, they cancel each other out. But if the second 2 testify about the 2, and they say, Imanu Yisem, how could you say that you saw Yanai HaMelech's mother being captured? You are in America then, you are in Eretz Yisrael, you didn't see her being captured, you're liars. So it's not 2 against 2. It's 2 that make the other 2 Eidim Zayimim, and they don't count, and we trust those guys. Says the Gemara, what happened was, she was captured. There's no argument she was captured. But the second set of Eidim come and say, yes, she was captured, but she never had yichud with any of the guys. Before she was able to be misyachet, they rescued her. The Sayeret Matkal, whoever it was, came and rescued her. And so the Goyim shouldn't get all upset. They stuck in a shifcha to replace her. And the Goyim didn't realize the switcheroo. So they're not arguing on the first set of Eidim, they're explaining the first set of Eidim. Daf Samach Vav Amud Beis. How do you know, this is Rashi, that Echad is not believed by Erva, even If nobody argues with him, 1/8 says this is what happened, and the husband doesn't know. Says, he's quiet. How do you know he's not believed like Rava? It's not. Omer Shimon. Maisa b'megoyra shel diskim. There was a mikvah in Diskim, or the name of a guy, a person called Diskim. Biyavra. There was 40 saw to the mikvah. It was perfect. Somebody went to be toivel, and after he came out, they measured. They saw there's 39.9 saw. It's not kosher. So you have a beautiful machlek between Reb Tarfon and Rabbi Akiva. Anything that went in there, a person that thought that he was tar and he touched something. So according to Reb Tarfon, it's tar, because before the person went in, the mikvah had chazak of tahara. He went in, and then they measured it afterwards. Too bad, too late. But Reb Akiva says if that person who was a tameh went into the mikvah, who we thought the mikvah was a good mikvah, it's kosher, but then we found that it's not. Everything he touched is tameh. The mikvah had a status of kosher. And now you want to say that before he went into it, it was missing. You shouldn't do that for a Musafik. So now we have a back and forth between Rabbi Akiva and Reb Tarfon, and believe it or not, Rabbi Akiva wins. So, Rabbi Akiva, why are you looking at the mikvah of Tarfon? Let's look at the human being. The human being is tameh, so he's in the status of tameh. You want to take him out of his cheskas tumah and make him tar. That can't be. Okay, I'll prove it to you with a mashal. A person, a kohen, is on top of the mizbech acting as a kohen. Comes somebody and says, "Hey, you! Why are you on top of the mizbech? Get off! You're the son of a grusha." He says, my mother's a grusha? Yeah. She's a grusha. Get off right away. So what about the carbon he did right before he knew about it? An amazing halacha. It's kosher. Why? Gzeres hakazim. Since he didn't know that he's a ben grusha or ben chalutza, it's good. By the way, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to upload the shir before my flight. So if not, it's going to be uploaded in 12 hours or so. But Be'ez Hashem, let me just make sure. I don't want to go through the whole share and figure out that it didn't record. Let me just see. Okay, it's recording, and it looks like it's still okay. Good. One of the planes left. I don't know if during the share or not. Okay. Aviation enthusiasts like myself appreciates these planes in the background. You guys might not. I don't know. Okay. So he's saying, if I found out that what happened before was bad, we leave it and it's good. So too, if I find out that I didn't know about the mikvah, I thought it's kosher. Now we found out that it's not good, so whatever he did before is good. Taisa just asks a bottom question, Ayin Chum, that what's the connection? By a mikvah, had we known, if somebody said, by the way, 2 days ago it was already missing, that would be a different situation. That's not what happened. Over here we're saying, the mikvah right now, it's missing water. What happened yesterday, we have no clue. But by the Ben Grusha, they're coming and saying, hey, 2 days ago you were Ben Grusha. That's very different. Omer Rabbi Akiva, okay, you threw me a mashal, let me throw you one. What about a person who's standing on top of the mizbeach and he's being makar b'karban? So let's say a kohen tells his friend, hey, it's so weird. I noticed that, most human beings have 5 fingers. But why do human beings have 4 toes? Yeah, looks at him, 4 toes. Who has 4 toes? He says, everybody has 4 toes. He says, no, I have 5 toes. He says, but what do you mean you have 5? I have 4 toes. You have 4 toes? Yes. Yeah, I have 4 toes. Isn't that normal? No, it's not normal. You're a balmum. Oh, balmum. He's on the mizbeach. After the miso, he just realized he's a balmum, he's missing a toe. Then we say that everything he did beforehand is possible. So too, when we find out that the mikvah is missing, he's tameh. Omer Tarfa, not the Misal Balmum, but the Misal Ben Grusha Ben Chalutza. I compared him to Ben Grusha. You compared him to Chalutza. Near the Midayma. Let's see what makes more sense. If I'm right, then you have to agree to me that you're going to go with my shita. And if our case is similar, more similar to Balmum, so Rekiva started and says, Mikvah absolutely biyachid. If an Eid Echad comes and testifies about a mikvah, Eid Echad naman b'isurim, we believe him. That's actually a sheet, but it's not on the PowerPoint. Eid Echad naman b'isurim, u'ba'amom absolutely biyachid. And if a guy comes and says, by the way, I know for a fact that I saw him when he was a kid, he's missing a toe, we believe him. And you can't prove anything from a ben chalutza and a ben grusha. Why? Because you need at least two people. I'm just checking the time to make sure I don't miss my flight. Another thing says Reuvain, mikvah p'suloi b'gufay. The mikvah is possible in itself. Ba'amum p'suloi b'gufay. The Balmum, the Kohen himself is possible. The mikveh itself is possible. A Ben Grusha, the guy himself didn't do anything. It's his mother who's the divorcee who married a Kohen. She did something. Listen to this. Says Reb Tarfon Akiva. Anybody who separates from you, Akiva, is like separating from life. If I miss one svara, one concept in Torah, it's missing life. The famous story with Baruch Ber, he overheard somebody saying that Torah is like oxygen. You can't live without Torah. So he said, I want to make him a cha. I think you're wrong. It's not that you need Torah to live. Torah is life. There is no life without Torah. It's not a component. Oh, without oxygen, you will die. Without blood, you will die. Without water, you will die. No. Torah is life. When you separate and you don't understand Rebbe Akiva, you go with different ideas, then you are separating from life itself. The Peretz Chaim says that if a person murders somebody who's about to die, the doctors say, they look at this guy and say, this guy's going to live for another half hour. And he goes and he murders him half hour earlier. Obviously, he's a killer. He's a ritzeach. He deserves to die. Why? Because he robbed a half hour of this guy's life. So says the Peretz Chaim that if a person is in bed, he's supposed to get up and just lays around, moosies around in bed, lays there for another half hour. So he's like a killer. He just killed a half hour of his life. Says the Gemara, Hai Balmum shipslu b'yachad echidami. So Rava is coming up with a pshat, right? We're trying to figure out Rava. Rava says that one aid is not believed when it comes to Ereva. So this Balmum, that a single witness came and testified, what's the pshat? What happened? If the Balmum denies it and says, hey, I have 5 toes. What are you talking about? I have 4 toes. How can you believe 1 against 1? Ella, the Shasik. Must be, we're talking about our case where the guy with the toes is quiet. And we trust the Eidechad that he doesn't have a toe. With the Gavasik Ben Grusha Ben Chalus. The Shasik in the same case would be Ben Grusha Ben Chalus, so that he's quiet. Uktani, Mikvah P'sulu B'yachad, Balmum P'sulu B'yachad. This is Mefurish in the Gemara. Says Rava. That 1 aid is enough to pass on Mikvah, 1 aid is enough to pass on Balmum. V'al Yichiach Ben Grusha Ben Chalus is P'sulu B'shtayim. And you cannot testify about an erva about the Ben Grusha Ben Chalutza. Rashi holds its erva through 1 aid. Says the Gemara, Babai Omar, and Abai will answer this. We're talking about that it's 1 against 1. The Balmum argues, and if you're going to say so, if so, the guy with the toes, without the toe, argues, so why should we believe the Eidechad? The answer is very simple. Remove your shoe, remove your sock, and let me check. If you're so confident that you have 5 toes, let me see. I know it's covered. Remove. Famous Maisa with the king told a certain person, you're going through this in this country, do me a favor. No matter what, don't take off your shirt. Don't. Did I just ruin the joke? I ruined the Maisa, I think. Again, no matter what, don't bet with anybody. Don't make any bets. So the guy goes to another country, and he gets there, and the guy comes over and he says, remove your shirt. He says, no. He says, I'll give you $10,000 to remove your shirt. I'll bet you $10,000 that you remove your shirt. So the guy says, no. He says, I'll give you 20. No, 50. Oh, 50. Yes, I'll go back to the king and I'll tell the king I made $50,000. So he gave him $50,000 and he removed the shirt. He goes back to the king and he says, oh, your master, I made you $50,000. I removed my shirt. Says the king, Shaita, I bet on you $1 million that you're not going to remove your shirt. Why do you remove your shirt? And the nimshal, I believe, is that sometimes we think that we're doing the right thing. Hashem would want me to do this. Hashem would be happy with me. No. Hashem wants you to do what's right. Don't make cheshbainis in Hashem. Don't say, if Hashem would know what I'm going through, he would agree that I should do this and this and this and that. That's a cheshbon. That's, the king would want me to make $50,000. No, you don't know the real calculation behind it. You're actually losing $1 million. Says the Gemara, says Abai, you see, that's exactly what it means. You could see it in his body. It's on him. You can tell where it is, and that's why the Yidden is believed. So now we're just going to go into what we just discussed briefly, that if a person who was found to be the son of a grusha, in other words, he's a chalal, after he performed the avodah, you don't have to bring another carbon. It's good. How do we know this? It's a big chiddush. Or Rabbi Shmuel Makro, it says in the pasuk, "V'hoisaloi ulazarei acharav." Ben zera kosher, ben zera apostle. It's kosher. In other words, in a case where he doesn't know about it, then it's kosher. Because if you knew that it's a chal, that's a mefurish pasuk that it's not good. We're talking about a case that he doesn't know. Amud Shmuel Amar, another source, Melcha. Barech Hashem cheloi. So you learn the word cheloi as chal. Ufay al yod of tirtza, and the carbon will be merutza, will be a good carbon. Afilu chol and shabai tirtza. Even a chalal that does a carbon, there's a ritzui, it's good a carbon, provided he didn't know about it. He did not know about it. You go to the kohen that's in those days. Says what he's going to go to a kohen that's not in those days? Elo ze kosher v'nischal. The Yom means that he thought at a point that he's a good kohen. But Yom it's not for you should go to a kohen that's alive. Obviously, you're going to go to a kohen that's alive, not dead. It means he went to a kohen that he believed was a good kohen. But Yom and then afterwards he found out that he's not a good kohen. Then his carbon is a good carbon. Now we said another chiddush. Rabbi Kiva says somebody found out on the mizbeach. He just shafted an animal. He's on the mizbeach and he finds out that if you're missing a toe, you're not a good kohen. How do you know that's possible? Omar Vidam Shmuel the Omar Kro Lochein Amar Hidden Noisin Loy is Brisi Shalom Shu Shalom Veloy Shu Chaser. So you learn the word Shalom, peace. He means whole. It says more about Shalom. It doesn't say whole. It says peace. Amar Rav Nachman Vav the Shalom Ketiyah. According to the Pshatim, that the Vav in the Torah is actually missing a piece. So it's not a full word of Shalom, it's actually Shalem, which means whole. And Rabbi Isai, I'm going to catch my flight. I hope to see you live in Chicago with hopefully better shiurim. Have a wonderful day. It's not about the daf, it's about the yomi.